your spiritual, mental, physical health is your own responsibility.
Thank you for saying that.
Because we can't just put that on the church. That's your responsibility too. Even if you feel like if you want to be fed from somewhere and you feel like you're not being fed, you also have the option to leave and go to where you are being fed. So that's that. But to bring it back, it seems as if a lot of cats really aren't paying attention to their mental, physical, and spiritual health. So how important are these conversations for musicians, especially to you?
So I think that, and I'm going to broaden it. I'm going to zoom out a little bit just to say creatives.
Okay, creatives. Gotcha. I like that. Yeah.
I think that sometimes creatives don't realize, again, the high highs and low lows, right? Like it's, you can have a great idea and a great day and do a great thing, and this was phenomenal, and then there feels like a gap for 2 weeks where it's like, now what do I do? You know, think about athletes who, the average lifespan of a professional football player is 4 years.
4 or 5 years, yeah.
Right? So think about playing since you were 2.
Yeah.
And working your whole life to get somewhere. And then at 26 or 28,
you're considered an old man.
And can't do nothing else. What now what?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And so it can be very tricky, man, to realize, y'all, just how fragile and how sensitive the mental part is and the emotional part. People who are creatives tend to carry their heart and their emotions a little bit. They're a little louder than some other people. We feel more, and that's a lot of times what makes us great. You know what I'm saying? You just feel something that nobody else in the room can feel. You can just feel when to hit the right tom, and you can feel when to play the right sound and the right chord and what happens in the room. We can feel when it's time to go to this shot on the camera. Then we can sense things that other people can't sense, man. And but I think at the same time, it matters for us to be aware of who we are.
Yeah.
We got to be in tune with who we are, right? So then, though, at the same time, it's what matters to you.
Right.
Because like you said, I think that we have to be rooted in something.
Right.
I mean, we got to be rooted, right? And I think if you're a believer, it has to happen. It has to matter to you to have roots. Hey, I'm not saying you got to be a believer to play at a church.
Right.
That's between you and that church.
Right.
That's between whoever hired you. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, there have to be roots somewhere, and something has to matter.
Right.
And the same is we had the conversation about saying, I want to have people who are good people as much as I want to have great players. Right. We got to also say, I would rather have a situation that feeds my life, that I feel safe in.
Right.
Psalm 23 is one of the most famous pieces of scripture that, to everybody. But one of the key parts is because the Lord is my shepherd, he leads me to green pastures.
Right.
Well, a green pasture has to matter.
Right.
And if it does matter, then you got to be able to identify, I'm in a brown pasture.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Grass kind of dead.
And then maybe this isn't for me.
Yeah.
And I know they pay me well.
Yeah.
Or I know it's got these perks. But man,
Yeah.
So I think that part matters. And if you're not being fed at the place where you work, for example, I'm going to approach this conversation from the standpoint of a pastor. If you're not being cared for in the church you play at, hypothetically, then where are you cared for?
Yeah.
Because you don't just get to say, I'm not going to do anything about that part.
Right.
Because you're going to, at some point, it's going to matter.
Right.
And when you need something to lean into, what is that?
Right.
So even if it's not there has to be some kind of care for your soul and your spirit and your mind and your heart. And you have to have a safe place somewhere. So I think my encouragement is to really define what matters.
Right.
I can't define your recipe.
Absolutely.
But at the end of the day, if you say, hey, I'm gonna cook some spaghetti tonight when I go home, right, or whatever, then you know what you have to get when you go to the grocery store.
Right.
Right? I can't cook if I'm saying I'm cooking spaghetti, I'm not going to the store and buying eggs and cookies
You're
and
right,
Lay's and Sprite, right? Because then I'm gonna get home and say, oh no.
Yeah.
This doesn't work now. Yeah. But same thing, you have to know the recipe for you, right? You have to know, like, I need these kind of people around me. Sometimes I need this thing. I'm an ambivert, for example, which means I'm right in the middle of extrovert and introvert. Okay. Well, I know that, hey, I'm happy to be in people, but I also need some time to decompress and recharge. Absolutely. Right? And so it's knowing your recipe to me that matters. And I think that,
Which the bottom line of that is just being honest with yourself.
I agree.
The bottom line of that.
Yeah. Last question before we go to break.